Hello, and welcome to Scara's Screamcast. I'm your host, Scara, Damsel of the Doomed, and today we have both Dachshunds of the Doomed with us, Gomez and Herman. They decided right before I started that they wanted to sit in my lap, and who am I to deny my lap dogs a lap to sit upon? I thought we would start things out today with an incantation to introduce the episode. So, as you can see, I have my flame. And the incantation of this episode is going to be as follows: Gather round the flickering flame to speak the words and name the names. The moon is high. No, the veil is high and the moon. No, the veil is thin and the moon is high. So let's just chat, you and I. That was supposed to be a lot smoother. It was going to be smooth and I was going to be able to share it because it's a cool incantation. But, that's how it goes. Let's try it again. Let me do it again, this time with feeling. Gather round the flickering flame to speak the words and name the names. The veil is thin and the moon is high. So let's have a little chat. Just you and I. There you go. That one's better. Cut, print, share, Hold on. One of the Dachshunds of the Doomed is pulling on my headphone cord. Okay. This is not a big enough chair for everybody, boys. It's not a big enough chair for everyone. Let me readjust these fellas. If you're watching on YouTube, good congratulations. You really should be watching on YouTube. It's a shit show sometimes. But these boys are so cute. These babies are so cute. All right. Lots to speak about today. Lots to tell you. Lots of things going on in the Scaraverse as per usual. So first, let's get started where I kind of left off last episode. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think I can switch cams. There's something going on with my cam. Oh, wait, maybe it's this. See, everything's kind of, oh, yeah, I got it. Okay, here we go. So first off, I want to tell you about my experience over the last 2 weeks. If you listen to the most recent episode, I told you that I was hired on as a crew member, as a script supervisor, continuity person for a horror movie. And what I didn't tell you, I don't think anyway, was that it was filming out at Bat City Scaregrounds, which is the haunted attraction I work at during October. And so that was really fun. It was a lot of work, but I had such a great time. Everybody on involved in that movie was amazing. And I made a lot of new friends and some really fantastic new contacts. I learned a lot of very important information that I'll be able to use for a long time in various applications of my life, various areas. I'll be able to apply it. And it's definitely one of the coolest experiences I have been involved with so far. And I really, really enjoyed it. And I hope to do it again. So, having said that, I have to tell you something. Now, I don't know if I can tell you this movie star's name yet. I'm not sure if that information's out there yet. So I'm not going to say this person's name, but they were able to attach quite a big name to this movie. If you're a horror fan and I were to say this person's name, you would know exactly who it was and you would be able to tell me the movies he was in. And I don't want to give any more hints because, again, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to give that information. So just know it's a big name in the world of horror. You would know who he is. He's he's still very current in his acting roles. He does things other than horror. So, he's an actor. He does all sorts of jobs, genres. So he came and he worked a couple days on set and we had lunch. And I sat right next to him during lunch one of these days. And again, so this is out at Bat City, and they have the lunch table set up kind of like in the backstage area of Bat City Scaregrounds. Just this little kind of hidden from the public area, right? And we're eating lunch, and I'm chatting with this person, with this actor, this renowned actor who has been nothing but very nice, very pleasant person. And all of the suddenly, he said, so he looked at me and he said, so what does butt stuff 2024 mean? I heard him, and then my eyes darted to the bumper sticker that was visible, that was on one of the buildings. And the bumper sticker was a mock-up of a political bumper sticker, and it said butt stuff 2024. And I know which actor put that out there. I know which Bat City person is responsible for the butt stuff 2024 paraphernalia out at Bat City. Again, this stuff is hidden from the public. This isn't stuff that the public's going to see. It's, inside joke stuff, right? So at first my eyes darted to that sticker, and there it was. I saw it, and I couldn't. It's one of those things that I've seen a million times, and I've just forgot it's there. It's just blended in to the background at this point. I don't pay it any attention. And then I made eye contact with my friend Kayla, who was the art director on this movie, and I looked at her, and she looked at me, and our eyes got wide. And I looked back at the actor who asked me the question, and I said, well, Mr. Blank, what does butt stuff 2024 mean to you? And he responded. He responded with, poop. It means poop, right? And he was serious. He was serious. And he said, poop. It means poop, right? And I said, yeah. That's what it is. Butt stuff 2024 means poop. I'm pretty sure you're correct on that. And then I think I changed the subject, or somebody else. I'm not sure. I was starting to, feel sweat on my brow. I couldn't believe it. And then Kayla, apparently, I think she just started texting people in the group chat about the bumper sticker. So that is a memory that is going to stay with me, I think, for a very long time. Butt stuff 2024, And that sticker remains. It's still there. Now it has to stay there, I feel like. So that moment alone made the whole movie for me. It was fun watching. Do you want down, Herman? Hold on one second. Herman wants down. You want down? Hold on. Don't knock the mic over. It was fun watching that actor and the other actors in the movie do their thing. All of the actors were very good, and the leads were just amazing, especially the two. Well, I don't want to play favorites. I will just say that the actors in this movie were great, and it's really cool watching them. My job as continuity, is to make sure that they're wearing the things they need to wear. The blood's where it's supposed to be. They're saying the lines that are supposed to be said. We didn't forget that, this or that. There's a lot involved. I have to make sure I'm watching the screen. So if the boom mic dips, I can say, oh, the boom was in the shot, or I can see a crew member in the background, or is that a light pole in the background, So I would really have to tell myself to pull out and not get super sucked into the actor's performance, because I had to pay attention to all the other things. The performance wasn't up to me. That was the director. The director gets to decide on the performance. He makes all those calls. But so I don't have to worry about paying attention to it. But these actors were so good. It was like watching a play. I was just getting sucked into it. And I kept having to, almost pinch myself and tell myself to snap out of it. Snap out of it, Gomez. Look at this little boy. Oh my gosh. If you're just listening to the audio and you're not seeing this sweet angel, I don't know what to tell you. He's so adorable. Herman already left. Gomez might leave in a minute too. We'll see. Are you going to sit here? Still? Okay. The other cool thing, so I've been involved in making indie horror films already prior to this. However, the difference is the movies I've been involved with up until this one, it was all, you know, a lot of friends getting together to get something made, which is really cool. It's really awesome that we were able to do what we were able to do and learn what we needed to learn and get things going. It's quite a feat, honestly, um, that the majority of us had limited experience in these movies that I had worked on. So this movie was the first one I worked on where there was like a professional crew. I mean, these crew members, they knew what they were doing. And they were doing it. They were on it all the time. They were amazing to watch and they're amazing to listen to. There's a whole lexicon of words that people use on set. Okay. First of all, on set, like it sounds so highfalutin, first of all, on set, you know. Hold on. Mm, sorry, I had to have some curdle eye. But I found myself listening to their language. And at first, another thing that a script supervisor does is I'm in charge of the slate numbering. So the scenes and the takes, you know, scene 26, take 1, scene 26A, take 2. I keep continuity of that. So I'm supposed to be in charge of that. Well, they don't say A or B or C. They say alpha, beta, Charlie. You know what I mean? They use the military alphabet or some other alphabet. They don't say the actual alphabet letter. And at first I resisted saying it like that. So, you know, the assistant cameraman, the AC2, he would be like, what is this one? What are we calling this? And I would say, this is going to be 24C. Take 1. And he would call out to the sound mixer and whoever else. He would call out 24 Charlie, you know. And I just couldn't bring myself to say it that way. I just couldn't. Not for the first week anyway. But by week 2, boy, I was fully, now I know what it feels like to be in a cult. By week 2, I was fully in it to win it. And I was calling out, oh, this is going to be 30 Delta 4, you know. I was using all of those fun alphabets. And I don't know how or when it happened. I promised myself I wasn't going to do that for whatever reason. I think it's because I felt it was a little bit like imposter syndrome. You know, I didn't feel up to par yet. So I felt like if I was trying to be all, you know, 26 echo, you know, it just didn't feel right coming out of my voice box. Maybe a little bit of imposter syndrome. I'm not sure, but I just couldn't do it. And then one day I did. And then it was over. And then that's how I would call out the slate from then on out. And I know why they do it. So there's no confusion. Also, you're not supposed to use zeros. You're not supposed to use ones. You're not supposed to use some other fucking number. I can't remember now. I think it might just be zeros and ones. Oh, not zero, ought. Okay. Here's some other language or lingo they have. Sandbags, dirt. It's called dirt. Camera lenses, it's called glass. All right? Get it straight. If you understand something, somebody tells you something, you say, copy that or copy you. If you're carrying equipment and you need to get through, make a hole. Make a hole. That's what you say. If you're carrying something like a light stand, points. You say points. And everybody gets out of the way. If you're carrying a camera and you say camera, everybody scatters like mice to the corners or like cockroaches to the corners. You got to go to the bathroom? Well, you don't say, I'll be right back. I got to go to the bathroom. And by the way, you have to tell the AD or somebody, preferably the AD, if you're going to go to the bathroom. But you don't say, I'm going to go to the bathroom. You don't say, I'm going to go talk to a man about a horse. You don't say, I'm going to go take a piss. You don't say, I'm going to drop the kids off at school. That would be gross. Ugh. What you say is, I got a 10-1. I'm going to 10-1. That's code for bathroom, FYI. All right? Now you know. And now you can work on a movie set. You know everything that you need to know. Make a hole. Points. I'm hearing it in my dreams. I'm waking up. There's so much I had to remember that, like, I would wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it. But it was good. You know, there's bad stress and there's good stress, and that was good stress. Like, I like that kind of stress. It makes me feel alive. What else did I want to tell you about? I've got a bunch of stuff written here. I do know I wanted to tell you a little bit about the questions from last week, but I think I want to save that till the end. I'm trying to get this dang book. Hold on. See, this is the problem when you have a Dachshund of the Doomed in your lap. You have a hard time turning book pages. Here we go. Okay. Oh, that's right. I wanted to tell you about some horror news, and you too can find all the horror news you need on Bloody Disgusting. This is not a paid promotion or anything, but the sites I check out, iHorror, Bloody Disgusting. I like to pick up a Fangoria magazine here and there and other sources, but this stuff is coming from Bloody Disgusting. There's also Dread Central, by the way. It's where if you're wanting to check out what's going on in the horrorverse. But what I thought was cool was the fact that Sinners, Ryan Coogan's Sinners, that's his name, right? 16 Oscar nominations. That is amazing, seeing as the Oscars have usually traditionally shunned horror movies. For years and years and years, there's only been a few horror movies that have won anything at the Oscars. And a lot of the times you can have the best performance and just be shunned because it's a genre film. It's not serious to them, and that kind of goes back to if you want to go back in the history of horror movies used to be considered B movies. Remember when I was telling you about block booking? So horror movies would be on the B side of things, meaning the studios would have these big budget films that they would sell to theaters, and they would package them in a block book deal with other movies that weren't as big budget. That were usually smaller budget films, and a lot of times these were, the westerns, sometimes noir films, and often they were horror films. And the Academy Awards has traditionally ignored all of the B movie genre films, okay? So 16 Oscar nominations for Sinners is record-breaking. It's history-making. It has not happened. There is not one horror movie in the history of horror movies that has received that many Oscar nominations. Let me have a sip of this Crystal Light. Hold on. So let's see what they were nominated for. Sinners is up for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actress, and Supporting Actor, Original Screenplay, Costume Design, Achievement in Casting. I've never heard of that one. Is that a new category? Achievement in Casting? Makeup and Hairstyling, Original Score, Cinematography, Editing, Production Design, Sound, Visual Effects, and Original Song. So, yay, Sinners. I was taking a look on this article. It says other genre films contending for Oscars include Frankenstein, which has 9 nominations. I'm going to embarrassingly admit I have not seen Frankenstein yet. It came out, and I was very, very busy. And I really wanted to see it in the theater, and I didn't get to. And I feel like I don't want to watch it on my little screen. You know what I mean? I want to watch it on a big screen. I don't have a big screen. I have this little computer. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I feel like I know I want to see it. Look at all the green in my background. I know I'm already going to love the movie. Guillermo del Toro does such an amazing job with his colorscapes. Anyway, it's up for 9 nominations. I'm not sure which ones. It's what categories, but that's good to hear. Hold on. I feel like I'm sorry. I got my hair's everywhere. Ugh. Okay. What other genre films? Weapons. I wonder what they're up for. I loved that movie. Did you guys see Weapons? I'm so excited that they've already agreed to do a prequel, and it's gonna be based on Gladys, the witch character. Begonia. I saw Begonia the other day. That's more of a sci-fi movie, thriller sci-fi, I guess. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed Begonia. K-pop Demon Hunters, Jurassic World Rebirth, and The Ugly Stepsister. I've never even heard of The Ugly Stepsister. I've never even heard of it, Margaret. Let's see. Oh, Begonia's up for Best Picture. So is Frankenstein, as is Sinners. Best Director, Ryan Coogler for Sinners. Emma Stone is up for Begonia. For Best Actress. Best Actor in a Leading Role, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners. Best Actress in a Supporting Role, Amy Madigan in Weapons and Wunmi Mosaku in Sinners. Best Actor in a Supporting Role, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein and Delroy Lindo for Sinners. Best Adapted Screenplay, Frankenstein's up for that, so is Begonia. Original Screenplay, Sinners. Costume Design, Frankenstein and Sinners. And then, it goes on and on. You could read it yourself. That's an article over at Bloody Disgusting. And while I was at Bloody Disgusting checking that out, I saw this made me excited. Now, this was, I think they put this out a week ago, so I'm a little late to the game. And if I'm late to the game, you're probably late to the game. So this might be the first time you're hearing of this. But y'all remember Kenan and Kel, right? They were on Nickelodeon or whatever. And of course, Kenan's still on Saturday Night Live and has been for, I think he's like maybe the longest cast member that Saturday Night Live has ever had. They are reuniting. And no, it's not for like their old TV show. They're reuniting for an homage to Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. And they're doing one where it's Kenan and Kel Meet Frankenstein. So it'll be like a horror comedy. And Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein was one of the first things I saw. I saw that movie as a very small child. I want to say it was probably 5 or 6 when I saw that. And I was obsessed with it. It scared me because, there was creepy monsters and things in it. But it was also really funny because it was Abbott and Costello. If you don't know who Abbott and Costello is, then, Google it. I'm not going to explain it to you. God. So that was really exciting to see that Kenan and Kel are going to do that. Like, what a fun buddy movie that'll be. And I love that they're bringing back that. So Abbott and Costello did a bunch of the Abbott and Costello meet. They meet the mummy. They meet Dracula. They meet Frankenstein. They meet your mother, Okay, let me take a sip and then let's get to the answers from last week's question. What do you say, Gomez? You want to help me with this? All right. That was Gomez hitting the mic. So last week, I asked if you have an Alamo Drafthouse in your city, what do you feel about the new QR code ordering system? And I'm just going to give you a few answers from a few people. Smashstick, our buddy Smashstick666 on Instagram, good old Smashstick666. He said that the Alamo lost what made it good a long time ago. Now it's owned by Sony. Yes, Smashstick. We discussed that a couple episodes back. But I must say, my friend Jackie Stargrove told me that although it is owned by Sony, he places the blame on Michael Custerbutt. Michael Custardbutt. Michael Custerman is the man's actual name. He places the blame on him. That is the CEO of Alamo Drafthouse. And the CEO is the one that made the decision, the final decision to do the QR code and all of that. That wasn't a Sony decision. That was a Michael Custerman decision. So thanks a lot, Michael Custerman. You're a real jerk. Jason Von Grimm Foster over on Facebook, he said corporate and shitification in the name of money. He actually put $5 signs, but that means money. And then I thought this one was interesting. Big Bad Brad, the Wolfman, over on TikTok. I see Big Bad Brad, the Wolfman, out at the conventions. He is a big cosplay guy, and you guessed it, he often cosplays as a Wolfman. But Big Bad Brad the Wolfman, he said he thinks it's cool, the QR code. And he said, but I used the wrong barcode the first time because I sat in the wrong seat and I paid for the other person's order. This is important. Now, Big Bad Brad is not an elderly person, but I will say this. First of all, I think a lot of if this sounds ageist, sorry, but I think there's a certain age range of people who are not as technologically savvy, okay? And I have seen people of a certain generation struggle with the QR code thing all the time. Anytime there's a QR code, then you might as well be asking them to translate hieroglyphs. They don't know how to do it, and they've done it. Even if they've done it 3 or 4 times, it doesn't stick for some reason. So you already know that's going to be an issue with that generation of folks in the theater not knowing how to do the QR code. That's already going to be a problem. But then I didn't even think about this, but Big Bad Brad the Wolfman is saying that he accidentally paid for somebody else's meal because he sat in the wrong seat. That kind of stuff's going to be happening too. It's not going to, that stuff is not something that would happen if you had a human waiter. You know what I mean? It just wouldn't. So that was the answers to that question. You know how I feel about it. I don't think it's good at all. I think it is not progress. I think it's going to make people lose jobs, and it's going to, make Alamo shittier. It's already too expensive to go eat at the Alamo. You can either watch a movie at the Alamo or you can have lunch. You can't do both. Gomez, you're so squirmy. You're so squirmy. I want to ask everybody this other question, though, for next week. Gomez is going to help me. Which horror movie villain would you choose to go head to head with if you had to? If you had to pick one horror movie villain, who would it be? Which one would you go head to head with if you had to? Who do you think you could survive? Would it be Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, Ghostface, Hannibal Lecter, maybe? How about Jigsaw or Norman Bates or Pennywise? Maybe Chucky, Pinhead, Art the Clown, perhaps Megan, or maybe Pearl. I don't know. Who would you pick to go up against? If you had to pick a horror movie villain that you would go up against, who would it be? Let me know. You can call me. Ooh, I think I have my phone number here for the first time in my life. I would love for you to call me at 512-710-8766 and leave me a message. Let me know if you had to pick a horror movie villain to go up against. Who would it be? Call me at 512-710-8766 and let me know. Or you could just leave me a comment if you'd like, and I'll select some of them and read them on the next podcast, okay? Until then, I think we're getting close to the end here, don't you think? Don't you think so, Gomez? I think so. Gomez is ready for his nightly ritual. So, what else can I say to you? I don't know. How about keep your, I know, keep your candles lit and your salt lines thick. Okay? All right. Okay. I'll be back on Wednesday. We do this once a week over here on Scara Screamcast. It's live on Instagram and YouTube, and then it gets posted to your favorite podcasting platforms and also on my YouTube channel, which is Scara, Damsel of the Doomed on YouTube. Look for the Scara Screamcast in the podcast section, and you can listen and or watch all of them. All right. And I'm so close, by the way, to getting this podcast ready for guests. I just need one more element to come in, and then I'll be ready to have guests. And I'll be bringing those in so we can have some conversations with some people and have a good time. All right. Okay. So until then, Gomez, you're going to help me sign off. Let's see. Until then, my name is Scara, Damsel of the Doomed. This is Gomez, Dachshund of the Doomed, and we'll see you in your screams. Say goodbye, Gomez. That's right. Wave to that camera too, Gomez. Bye.